Good evening, everybody. It's
Good
delight.
evening.
I'm delighted to see you all, and we've got some new faces here. And we've got another new face too. Wow, Barbara from California is coming in. So, uh, who just disappeared? Deb, she'll be back, I guess that. So it is the second session of the Magic of Shifting Perspectives, and it's April 12th, I think, Monday, April 12th. I'm delighted to greet those of you who weren't here last week. Just so you know, for the record, Uta, those that were following the Facebook group, was in Miami, sure, in Niagara Falls, and she got back today, but she's just too tired and wiped out, so she sends her love. And I think that's it. I don't know that there are other people I've heard from in relation to that. So, those of you that weren't here last week, I think um, have all listened to the replay. So, you've gotten to know the people here, although their names weren't showing, but if you match them up with their pictures. So, if you would, I'd like you each to take a minute or 30 seconds or something to introduce yourselves. So, Nikki, you were the first one in. Would you care to say who you are, where you're from, and what is it that's having you do this program?
Well, I'm Nikki Tiffany, and I'm originally from near Rochester, New York, and lived there most of my life. And then when we retired, my husband and I moved to Cape Charles, Virginia, which is on the eastern shore, the little part that sticks out between the bay and the ocean of Virginia that nobody ever knows is there. But we still have a cottage on Lake Ontario, so we go back up to Western New York every summer. In fact, we're going in a month and spend the summer there. So I retired a few years ago, and I was an office manager and worked at a university with helping the hard of hearing by captioning their classes for them, and not interpreting but actually typing.
Right.
And I like art and photography very much, and just kind of dabble in it. And the idea of perspective is so important in all of those things. So that's why I'm interested.
Okay, great. Thanks for joining us. Ivy? I think Nina came in first, so while you get yourself set, Ivy. Nina, would you introduce yourself, please? Nina and I had the pleasure of meeting after the last session, and we spent time together, so I'm glad to see you here tonight.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you so much. So I'm Nina. I'm in South Florida in Broward County, originally from Oregon. I've lived in Florida 14 years, but I still feel like I'm not a Floridian and still an Oregonian. I'm here because I just thought it was interesting, just trying to see things from different perspectives. I didn't know really about the photography part, but I'm not very artistic at all. But the changing perspective really speaks to me, especially I'm going through like a lot of negative self-talk. So I'm trying to like just try to see a different perspective and understand maybe a different viewpoint. So that's why I'm here. And yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara? Let's see if Barbara's, Deb, are you having challenges with your connection?
I'm indeed. I'm going to turn off video and see if that helps, but it keeps crashing.
Okay.
So
And I see it looks like.
I'll just listen this evening.
Okay, and that was who? Because I'm looking at the list. It looks like.
Deb Paris, it was.
Oh, okay. So that's right. It's not even showing you as being on sound or microphone. Okay, so that was Deb, and I guess Barbara is trying to check in again. So Ivy, can you share? Looks like your microphone isn't on though. All right. Well, I'll move on, and then presumably the other things will, be able to come in. In any case, it's delightful to see you all here. What I want to do first is okay, that was the thing. It's for you, quickly. So tonight I had set up, I'm doing like a crash course. When I've done this before, worked in courses, we've spent 4 weeks just on photographs. And what I'm doing now is to see in this crash course, which is why it's free and kind of beta, what works, what doesn't, and moving on into people. One of the things I like ultimately is I coach individuals and using these different techniques depending on what's there for the person. So I'm giving you a whole overview of different kinds of techniques. I'd like to share, if we take about a minute each or 2 minutes, I don't know how many were on the Facebook group, or what you experienced this week in terms of the color photos, shifting, taking photos, eye catchers, or whatever, what you experienced yourself within yourself. And if you connected with other people with what was happening, shared photos or anything else, what was your experience there? Because last week, a lot of you were still also talking about communication with other people in your life. So who would like to go first? Gloria?
Oops.
Oh, go ahead, Nikki, go ahead.
I don't mind starting. It's spring here in Eastern Virginia. And so of course we started working in our gardens. And since we're so far ahead weather-wise of our family and friends in Western New York, of course I have to kind of brag a bit and take pictures of our garden. So that's mostly what I focused on, were some of the beautiful flowers that we have here, especially the camellias. I have a picture on my phone I'm going to hold up. That's one of the camellia pictures. And it's really pretty pink, as you can see. And just, sharing those pictures, and everybody's so like, oh, ours are up this high and yours are all in blossom, and it's kind of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ruth, you've got a happy smile you want to share?
Yeah, I had fun taking the pictures, and I only posted 5, I think, but I kept thinking, well, there's another one. There's another one. Because I'm usually very colorful. I've got lots of color in my house, but the color that came to mind was creams. It was kind of fun to see a neutral color, and I accidentally posted it to the public, and people commented. So that was fun.
Yeah, I liked your the cream. I'm a white cream person, so I was wishing that was the color I had seen.
Hey, you can always choose a different color, right?
Well, anyway, Ruth, you'll see when we get to the next thing in writing. Your cream sparked a haiku in me, and I'll explain that why later. So, okay. Well, now I'm just going across. Nina, did you do any photos, select a color, take any eye catchers coming in close?
Yeah. So like I said, I'm not the artistic type. I'm really not. And you told me to
be artistic. If you're artistic, then you remove from the group.
Oh, okay, good to know. I qualify. So you told me to look for blues, which is funny because the moment you try to look for blues, I couldn't find any blues. And I was hoping that we would get a chance to go to the beach, but it's spring break down here. So we were trying to avoid the beach because everybody from everywhere is down there. So I was looking for blues in my community, and it's also been raining. Spring in Florida is rainy, wet, so things are muddy and brown, but I did find a few blues, and I did take some close-ups. They're not artistic pictures. I'm not on the Facebook group. I actually canceled my Facebook account a couple months ago because just of all the negativity. So it's really hard for me to reopen my Facebook account again. I had a really hard time with that this week. So I apologize that I missed out on that.
Oh, that's okay. I'll do some quick sharing there.
Perfect.
So
thank you.
who other than me sees blue with Nina?
With what?
Ruth?
I do.
Go ahead. What do you see?
I see her background looks like a navy blue, purpley blue, and I see some blue spots on her earphones.
Mhm.
And occasionally when she moves, there's a lighter blue. Now, were you aware of all that, Nina?
Blue's my favorite color. So anything my walls and downstairs are all different shades of blue. Of all in my downstairs, but yeah, this is navy blue, and these like the reflection off the light. But yeah, but I didn't take pictures I was looking for outdoors.
Okay, so my suggestion is if we train ourselves, period, any eye catcher, don't make a judgment on where you want to be. You might look on the floor and see a dirt spot. It's blue. Take the picture. Remember, this is not art, it's seeing. So, I mean, okay, here are my blue glasses. If you needed a picture right now, you could do a screenshot with my blue glasses. So get tuned in. There's blue in this tissue box. So you take a picture of the different, of the square in the tissue. And so really, it's an education. Ivy, I could do a screenshot on Ivy's shirt, Nikki's kind of house.
Yeah.
There's even blue in Ruth's back.
There's a little blue on mine.
Okay. Okay, Ivy, you want to, I think you heard, so we'll briefly, well, you didn't get to introduce yourself because you were off, so you briefly introduce yourself and what's happened to you in here, and then what you experienced between
You were the last part of what you just said. It was muffled.
Because I was talking too fast, sorry. And then what you've experienced since with your own eye catching and color, etc.
Well, right before I joined, which I had a little bit of a hard time joining, but I went ahead and I posted on the Facebook page my pictures from this weekend. And I live in Florida as well, in Miami. And I was able to capture some really nice pictures, with the background, the beautiful blue skies and the palm trees and all sorts of things. But as far as introducing myself, what exactly do you need to know?
Well, you already said we know your name.
Yes.
And you said you live in South Florida, and what it is you would like from this program.
Oh, I love this because it makes you, I'm a mindfulness meditation teacher as well. So I'm always looking to be in the moment. And this is going to, just help me and be able to pass that on to my clients as well.
Okay.
To be able to see different things, different colors, different details.
Okay, great. Thanks. Appreciate it. Suzanne, what did you experience this week?
As I was like Nina, thinking I was supposed to be looking outside. Mine was blue-green, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't think of anything. And so I was talking to Sheila, and she said, well, look around. And so I was looking inside, and it was everywhere. So I took pictures. I posted them earlier today. I forgot to click the last button, so it didn't post when I thought it would. But and I did close-ups of various items that were blue-green. In my opinion, blue-green is always different. People think something's blue more, blue-green can look more blue or more green to people. So anyway, so you can check that out for those of you on Facebook. I've been taking lots of pictures in the neighborhood when I'm walking, lots of white flowers, and I love sharing them. And I love seeing white flowers that people post. It's my collection in my mind, and looking for what kind of things I want to plant around my house because I just moved here fairly recently.
Okay, and did you learn anything about yourself in the process?
Well, the thing about the color, I realized that there's color in a lot of different types of things in my environment, whether it's inside or outside. So that was I learned that I had a preconceived notion that it was supposed to be outdoors, just like Nina. It's like, And I realized it's like, it's everywhere. It can be right in front of you. And to just be open to observing everything. So that's probably what I learned the most.
Okay, great, thanks. Gloria? You know how to, well, I can unmute you. I think. No, I have to ask you to unmute. I can no longer unmute people. Gloria, again, when tapping your iPad, you should see the microphone icon in the top right or left. I'm pretty sure it's in the top, bringing up the menu.
On the right.
The lower right?
No, upper right. Yeah. Good
Upper.
tap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
upper. All right, well, while you experiment that with Gloria, I got to see if there's a way that can go back to the moderator unmuting also. Deb, would you like to share what your experience this week?
Sure. I too was looking outside and my color was gray. So on the farm, gray should be really easy, but I couldn't seem, it's spring here in Southwest Ohio. Everything's green, the daffodils are up, all the colors kept distracting me. And then, and you're all laughing, no, you understand. And then today I was sitting in my home and all these gray things just bubbled up with different textures and shades. And so I took the pictures and I went, pay attention. You have preconceived notion. You need to pay attention. So that was my takeaway.
Okay, great. Thanks, Deb. Gloria, you're unmuted now. Would you like to share?
Yes, but I can't get the picture. I'm sorry. I mean, I can't get my picture.
Understood.
My color was green. And as I was looking out my breakfast window, I faced some beautiful, beautiful greens. There's many, many different shades. I never realized how many. But even looking out the window, I saw about 5 different shades of green. You know, to me, it was very comforting. And I found that I was having some anxiety and it kind of calmed me down. So since, you know, I can't share the pictures I took, unfortunately, even though I'm showing them. But one particular bush caught my eye more than anything else because it seemed to have green and also a maroon shade on the same leaf. The under part of the leaf was a different color. Was very, very beautiful.
Okay, thanks. Isn't green, you know, from your hospital or I think nursing home experience, isn't green supposed to be a comforting color? Isn't that why sometimes hospital walls are green?
That could also be. I really didn't remember that. But now that you're telling me that, I think that it's coming back.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, okay.
Okay, thanks. Barb, would you like to introduce yourself?
I don't know if you can see me, but I didn't know you could see me.
No,
I'm Barbara.
We can't. What are you on? A microphone?
I'm on my computer.
Okay, on your bottom right, if you click on your screen, if your computer has a camera, then you should see across the bottom
Oh, I'm sorry, my dog just barked at the wrong time. I should see what?
a microphone, a video icon that's stop video or start video.
Let me see. Move. No, that didn't work.
Oh, well, Gloria, hi.
Hi. I just got back.
Okay, there's a toolbar. I'm gonna well, I can't even show it. There's a toolbar when you click on your computer screen and it should bring up, you should see along the bottom a microphone that says mute, a video icon, which is stop video or start video. And there should be an arrow there if you can't, that tells you whether the camera is not. Okay, well, let's not spend time on that. So
I'm sorry.
did you, were you able to watch the replay from last week?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
It's
All
been a crazy week.
Okay, because you can sense what we're talking about, I think, as far, oh, Gloria's wants to show her thing. Yeah, the bush,
Yes,
I can pin the.
I don't know why the reds were showing up more than the green.
Yeah.
I could see both greens and reds. Mhm.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
it up a minute. I'm gonna try one thing. Hold it up a minute. Lori, hold it up a minute.
I'll try to get it.
What I'm doing right now is pinning Gloria, anybody that moderates the meeting. And in pinning it now, you see she's turned into speaker view, whether it's gallery or not. So then if you were in gallery view, it still should show her now as speaker. So another tip. Okay. Remove pin. We're back in gallery view. And well, I'm not. Each of you can do whatever you want. So Deb, you spoke, right? Everybody spoke?
Well, Barb was speaking.
Yeah, Barb was speaking, right. Is there more you wanted to say, Barb? I'm sorry. Thanks, Nikki.
That's okay. I don't know how to actually get my picture on here. So,
Okay, well, if you know what, anybody that wants to stay after, I'll go through some of the tech stuff, because supposedly in the way I have the thing, which is unrealistic, we stop in 4 minutes.
oh
Okay,
my, oh wow.
so I'll quickly share the screen and go to Facebook. Well, first of all, while I'm sharing, I'll share the desktop, and those of you should be able to see on my computer. I don't know if you see it, Barb, the control panel with the mute, the stuff
yes.
that you should be seeing on your computer also. Okay, so I'm going now to Facebook. And here was, I'll explain that in a minute. I did last minute posting also. Ivy's blue. Okay, so I noticed the blue shadows in here also. Okay, and so, well, you're not all on Facebook, the blue in the sky. And so if there's anything, I'm going to quickly go, if there's anything you want to point out in it. That's the negative space. The space is in between. Nice. V shape. There are all kinds of things I could go into in that. But okay, then Suzanne got into when you finally saw that you could be in your house. Cool. So that was their intention, is that when we're open, we can see things in a lot more different ways than we think when we just have it. We think we know the answers, and then opening up. Gluten-free is blue. Okay, great. Thanks, Suzanne. Anybody can pop in, or if you want to say something as I'm briefly showing this, particularly for those not. Okay, now I'm going to say in the next section this week, I was going to talk about rating. And haiku is a way that I've had fun. I've worked my way through upset, boredom, and found answers. Now, haiku, if anybody doesn't know, is poetry, 5-syllable, 7-syllable, and the third line is 5-syllable. Now, where I say fun, sometimes I'll hear chatter or something in my mind. So when I looked at Ruth's cream color, I had the thought, cream in my coffee. I even asked her if she has cream in her coffee. And so we'll look at her photos first. And I was smiling as I looked at the photos because I thought of the cream in so cream in my coffee, if you'll count, is 5 syllables. Cool. So then I went in my haiku, cream in my coffee. Does she use it, I wonder? I did, and not now. Okay, while we're here, then Ute, oh, this one was interesting. Ute isn't here, but you'll watch it in the replay. Ute mentioned that she was in Niagara Falls, and I don't remember if this was there or coming back, that she saw shadows in profiles. And then Ivy commented that in this picture, let me read your comment. What did you say in that picture? Do you remember? Ivy?
Yeah. I basically said behind the left waterfalls, there is a lady with a slender neck and chin that is facing up, misting her face, and the trees are behind her.
So is this it?
That's it.
No,
Yeah.
It is
behind the waterfall on the left. Behind the waterfalls on the left. Okay, yeah, the arrow. Those are her. That's her hair. And then keep going to the right. Keep going. And
yeah.
that is her face. You know, you can't really see a nose, but there's a chin and the slender neck going into the water, coming up from the water is what I said.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is a weird thing in language. I was almost going to say I gave up. And then that still doesn't, because what in the language on the left, so I never look beyond. To me, I would have seen center and to the left of her, so I would position when I was talking. I was very aware of asking people what exactly they're saying. And then finally I thought, well, maybe she meant this thing, but it's not a slender neck.
No. Behind the waterfall on the left.
I know.
Behind it. Yeah.
Right here, right?
Right. Behind the waterfalls on the left.
I understood, but it's where the comment is. I'm just stating that language, and it's amazing what language could do. And when I was giving up, I then saw this possible profile. That wasn't the hair. Then there is, if you look here, there's a head and there's an arm, but it took me forever.
No, that's not what I meant.
Okay. Briefly, really briefly, I want to just share one experience, because a lot of my experience this week was out of the thing we talked about Deb, I'm sorry. Okay, so Deb got into textures, cool.
Yes, all different shades of gray. Some are fabric, some are tin, some are, the top one is knitted. Then the next one is fleece blanket. And it's all, that's the knitted piece. And like I said, I had struggled finding gray, and this is all sitting in the room with me. It was like, pay attention, preconceived notions. The one that really grabbed my attention, though, was the rock. So I think that's the bottom right, because that's on my fireplace. And that just, it looks almost like a mountain range. It was just very interesting. So.
Okay, thanks, Deb. And then I wanted to point out, so I went into eye catchers and I did reds and outside and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter in the car. I wasn't even looking for red, and I realized after the fact that's a red-winged blackbird. I voted for him, not for the red, but he happened to show up because it was red, because it was red. But part of my discovery this week, last week I was talking about the difference between focusing in and seeing the not narrow picture, but the close up and then the full perspective, and the contrast of the way I saw first and what Ute would see, and ultimately was the same. Well, interestingly for me, and I had a lot of experience in that in other ways I can't go into now, right up, but this apple caught my eye. And so I was slicing it into pieces and the whole thing, and never did I even stop to think that it was red. It it was strictly the thing until I put them all here and I said, oh, that's red also. My focus was on the eye catcher shapes and the face and everything else I was seeing there. So again, that was a different perspective. And since I'm talking about that, that idea has also impacted me in communication I was having with somebody who I need to work with, and a whole range of things, because I start from the details and I realize how much time I lose because I haven't looked at the overall first and then gotten into the thing. Oh, we can see you now, Barb. That's nice.
I know. I finally at the little on my left-hand side, there was a little thing and I thought, do I dare click it? I tried, so here I am.
Okay.
I'm quite computer challenged.
You're one amongst any. Okay, does anybody have anything you want to say or ask about the art, the photos experience? I think you all said a lot and it seemed like everybody gained something. And this week, because again, it's all about shifting perspectives and awareness and finding self. Now, I know in this group, several of us are writers, or a few because we've been in writing classes together. I have found that I will say I'm not, and I want you all, like you're looking for next week as you're thinking about this, those of us, well, I'm not artistic, wipe out any of those kinds of expressions you have about yourself. Now, I will tell you, I'm not a writer. So look at it from, this is what I want you to hear underneath that. I'm not a writer. I have 2 published books. And I'm in a 3rd book, and I'll probably write another. I've been writing blog posts and everything for years. Now, when I say I'm not a writer, it comes from, to me, a writer is one who is passionate about writing and wants to write books and has to write, etc. That is not me. What I found is writing is an expression of when I pull myself out of it. It's the way I have for healing, breaking through different things, all in free flow, timed writing, which means, and I said between sessions, I don't know, well, we really don't have much time now, but to talk about it, but thinking about those things that you hear yourself saying, like I thought I had to take something or other. And I don't know if any of you jotted them down. When I'm coaching people, I'll hear them saying things and I'll stop. And people, not only if they're upset about something, they don't know what to do next, is just take those phrases, set a timer and write for 5 minutes, set it again, and you keep writing. It'll be amazing what comes out of it. If you're not judging anything, you're just writing, brain dumping. I do morning pages every morning, almost, which is 3 handwritten pages. Julia Cameron, most of you, if not, has anybody not heard of morning pages? Okay, well, morning pages are 3 long handwriting, like brain dumping. There's nothing, I mean, Julia Cameron did come up with some suggestions of ways that you can find answers and things, but it's just in the brain dumping and release, things come up. And supposedly you're not supposed to look at whatever you write in morning pages for 14 days or whatever. So I will often keep extra paper beside me because I've got to follow the rules. And we'll jot down the to-do things or whatever that come up. Sometimes it's the same thing. There's a spot on the floor and look at the ceiling. It's just whatever is there. And trust me, it frees you up. It frees me up, and I'm assuming that it will free a lot of you up. So and then I said for haiku, and I think for haiku for healing, and part of it was also years back, Suzanne was working with caregivers and I did a bonus thing for her or for that group and changed it. And I want to give you so the fun thing, you hear yourself saying something, and even in boredom, like I said about Ruth's cream, suddenly I heard myself saying cream in my coffee. And then I said, cream in my coffee. Let me write 5 syllables. Let me write a haiku about it. Now, if you're frustrated sometimes, that or if you're angry or upset, just taking that time to stop and count gives you a shift. The same way as I say taking 5 photos, getting out of a funk, you get 5 photos and just, it's a shift. So the same thing that happens with haiku. Now, it also is a way of finding answers or solving pain, let's say, or something. When I was I was being interviewed by a caregiver. You know, he had caregiver company, and I was talking about haiku could be working with clients or anything, just getting them into haiku to break it. The caregivers themselves, if they're tense, could be doing some haiku. So he decided before interviewing me that he was putting his son, who had just turned 8, to bed. And his son was saying that he said, Dad, the bed's so cold, I can't fall asleep. So it was the night before that we were meeting. So he started thinking about it. He said he wondered what he could do. He said, to his son, I have an idea. Let's write a haiku about how your bed's cold. And he explained the 5-7-5. And in 5 minutes of working together, Brady declared, cold bed freezes toes, heart racing, warming my nose, tucked in tight, good night. He went to sleep. Now, I'm going to give you the link to that blog post. Before we finish, I'll show you some of these, on the web, just quickly, so you can see the rest. And we're talking also about shifting perspectives and what it meant to his father. And in that, too, the relationship that was deepened with them as they had this experience. So that's a part of it. And the sharing, Nina has kids. You could play with your kids with this. A lot of the things. Nina, did you ask your kids to look for blue?
I thought it was, I was on my walks. So no, we weren't looking for blue together, but we should have.
Well, no, not should have. So think about this week. We're talking about eye catchers. You saw how I did the apple or whatever. Just do the different eye catchers. And then ask the kids what they see. Have fun with that and see what might open up. Ask them to choose a color, each of them, and then you go around and look for their color. So, okay. There was one night, and this I thought was very powerful. I would write about boredom. At my grandson's Little League game, I was bored and I would sit out there and start writing haiku. Well, I don't know how many of you know, my late husband had Parkinson's disease, and I had for 12 years, and I had trouble. In a way, I was in denial the whole time, but there were times of anger and other times, and there were times that haiku helped me. And one thing I wrote very powerfully, and I'll give you the link to that too, I couldn't sleep one night. And I probably wrote more haiku. Now I don't much, but still, if I'm upset or even driving the car or something, just think, you hear something in your head, and count the syllables, and it takes that break. But I was in the middle of crying, and I'm not much of a crier, and I was scribbling. I couldn't sleep, and I started scribbling across the page, and I remembered my haikus on Haiku for Healing. So at 5:30 in the morning, I wrote, try some haiku now, instant gratification, 7 syllables. All I have to do, 3 lines, so simple, then done. Quiet now I am. It's hard to believe, simple syllable counting quiets my being. Crying, depression, tearing through the pages, then haiku counting. 9 lines, calm set in. Is that all there is to peace? Counting simple steps? Storming all over, words and thoughts flying about, writhing in my bed. Life has no purpose at this point in my lifetime, empty, void of love. Where is the passion? Who are the recipients in unknown blackness? Empty words they are. No one's there to receive them, feeling all washed out. put pen down, sleep came, woke up full of energy, lots of new ideas. So again, had I planned that, wouldn't have happened. I just let myself be with each of the things, and it's the counting in the syllables that helps some of the control, in my opinion and my experience. Okay. Any questions in relation to that?
So do you want us to write one? Is that our
Well,
assignment or whatever? You want to call
No, what I'm suggesting now, I mean, I don't know if anybody had brought anything. So since I said in the mailings, et cetera, that thing, is there anybody that does have a niggling thought or something somebody says to you that you came here with tonight? Okay, so just be aware of this during the next week. And I'm suggesting that you continue with the eye catchers, what you've known, share them with people, especially Nina, if you have people around you. Ivy, play with your husband. Barb, your husband, you're going visiting your kids, grandkids also, right, Barb?
Yes.
Yeah, so take some of this and look and see what, what each seeing different things. You can be amazed and be open to the conversation. I want to share, which is really interesting, things go up synchronistically. I'm not a meditator. I'm challenged with meditation. And interestingly, you talk about setting intention, mentioned that last week, and things kind of show up. Well, this past 2 weeks, so it started, I guess, 11, 12 days ago. And I mentioned briefly, Deepak Chopra has 21 days of meditation on getting unstuck, creating a limitless life. Day one, I'm just going to read briefly through some of the topics, and it's amazing how it fits in. Getting unstuck leads to fulfillment. Why do we get stuck? Finding the key to your creativity. How to be renewed every day. Rising above your old conditioning. You deserve more than secondhand experiences. Opening the doors of perception. And it goes on like that. Welcoming change is at an arrow. I haven't gotten to the joy of finding self-worth. Learn to be here now. Now, this was another interesting experience of which I was aware of. As I was listening to the meditations, I was annoyed. He does a mantra and something or other. And I'm saying, why can't I see it written down? Well, I did my normal thing. I opened the thing. It said, start the meditation. I never looked further down at the description. 11 days, 12 days, because I just jumped in without looking at the full picture. So that's one of my big takeaways this week, along with another experience. So, okay, I wasn't even looking. Okay, Suzanne said she had to leave. Okay, so briefly, and I'll share that. Anyone want to have anything you want to say to that? Nikki?
I'd just like to say, Ivy said she teaches meditation, and so do I. And so to hear you talk about it like that is interesting to me, because saying mantras and actually chanting is one of my favorite ways to do meditation. And I have my class do it, and they're like, oh, I can't sing and this and that, but then they get into it and they love it. And so it's all a learning process. And
well, what I mean with Deepak, you must have done some of Deepak Chopra's meditations.
a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not group, it's now, just pay attention to your breathing, and anytime a thought comes up, just say to yourself that thing. So it's not like, and what I'm saying is I have trouble disappearing any thoughts. I mean, the whole time I'm saying that one mantra.
That's okay. That's what it's all about. I mean, that's what chanting is about. It makes everything else go away. Yeah.
Okay. I'll work on it. I love this whole series of what he's doing. What, you wanted to say something, Ivy?
Yes, I wanted to say that mantras, they raise your, they raise your vibrations. And that's what you want. You want your vibrations to be elevated, because when they're down, that's when you feel down and you feel depressed and you feel anxious, or if you're angry. So this raises your vibration, and it's incredible the way it works. Right, Nikki?
Yes. And when you say a mantra, you are joining in the universe of everybody that's ever said that mantra. And think how powerful that is.
Okay.
I'm so
I
sorry.
want to be open. I should be open. I'm not putting it down. It's I don't feel any different after 20 minutes of, and
Takes practice.
Right.
Practice,
It takes practice. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody starts at one point, and it's just a matter of practice. That's all.
Mhm.
That's it. And then once you know what I do? I don't know if you do that, Nikki, but after my meditations, I write it down in my journal. I have a meditation journal, and I
Good.
write whatever comes to mind, like Sheila was saying. Just write. And when I go back to it, it's amazing
Mhm.
what you find. Yeah, it's really unbelievable what you can find. Mhm.
Very true.
okay. I want to briefly, I'll show you a couple of things that I'll put the links for. I'm sharing now, right? Okay, so I'm sharing. What am I sharing? The one thing I wanted to show you, some of you saw, I don't know if you saw the video, which the thing I had in
Yes.
Facebook with these two figures,
Mhm.
and did it show connection, and it had all kinds of different things, and nobody even saw them as garlic cloves.
Mhm.
Well, this is 12 years later. So this is aging gracefully.
Mm.
Evidently in this part, it had grown greenery, which wasn't here yet, but the fullness that came out. So just if you were interested in that.
That's cool.
Okay, so just briefly, oh, that was the one that had the, showed the garlic, what they said. I have a video, 2 videos on morning pages. I'll send you. Morning pages being my best friend. We don't need that. And then this was the haiku. I'll send you haiku for healing.
Mm.
Always love, and that, which I think was, I don't know if this was what I said in Suzanne, but I'm going to give you the link to that. This is what I said was in Suzanne's group. I have a few blogs. If ever you're looking for any of the things I said, my more recent is treasureyourlifenow.com/blog. Each of them have search on it. So you can put in like perspectives. I've searched and gone back on my blog to see what it is. Here, I'm going to give you the link to, this is the whole story of what Bert found in his son. In this writing for healing, if aloneness or different things, you might want to see what I've written about my husband. A lot of, when my mother died, I've written to Free Flow when in the death of my mother, my father, and my husband. I don't think I was going to post this again on Facebook, and I forgot. When we're talking about language last week, about thinking, is it true? I don't know, cross-check. Is it helpful, inspiring, etc.? And okay, now that was Julie, and I wanted to listen to that video. Okay.
We have a guest.
So cute.
So, all right. Anyone have any questions, comments?
Oh, thank you very much. It was fun. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, what is it that exactly that you want us to try to do this week?
Okay, so this week, I want you to pay attention. Just do some writing, your choice. And again, I'll give you. So it's free flow writing, timed. If you feel yourself upset about something and 5 syllables or anything like that doesn't come to you, but you know, he never closes the cabinet doors. and you're upset. So just start writing. He never, and for 5 minutes, it may come into something totally different about the relationship or anything else. They never pick up their clothes, so like that, and just write. Set the timer for 5 minutes. If you're still writing, then continue writing. If you want to try morning pages, I mean, I'm a strong advocate of that. That's a whole other practice, and I don't know how many years it's been that I've been doing that. And then play with haiku if it's something you want to try and play and experience with. Like, it's a short thing, so when you're bored anytime, or like in the middle of the night. I mean, I got up now, that was unusual. I don't even remember writing haiku like that again, but it was a tool that was there or came up for me when I needed it. I was going to say one more thing. So mainly in writing. Now, also, should you be angry? I mean, I have another thing I'll include in links I give you. I also wrote tips for writing when angry. Now, that writing doesn't get sent unless you wait at least 24 hours, but it's a way of, again, brain dumping, letting it out. Now, in the tips for writing, and the same thing, I don't know if you all looked at my tips for effective communication, but never, always start from the I, never do this, do that. The meeting on the defensive. So I'll include that. I don't know if any of you have anything you're dealing with that you want to question the way you might use writing or pictures. Nina?
You're muted, Nita.
I have something I'm dealing with, but it's just too much. I can't deal with it right now to bring it up. But yes, I have something I'm dealing with. Okay. Well, if you want to talk privately, or if you, right now we're recording, if you want to stay on and talk off recording, that's what I supposedly the last 15 minutes. But anyway, try writing.
Do you know, I'd like to say, Sheila, that your morning pages is a kind of meditation. You are practicing meditation. You're just writing as that form.
Well, I do use that when occasionally when somebody's talking about meditation, well, I do write, so, yeah. Thank you. So Nikki's listening and reassuring for someone who might be putting herself down. Okay, anyone else?
Very interesting. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and happy travels.
Oh, thank you. Actually, I will be here next Monday.
Oh, great.
The next day.
Okay, great. Okay, so continue taking pictures. Also, writing from your photographs. If something really caught your eye, I mean, like I showed you last week, I think the turnip, and it was old age, or sometimes you'll get in and take a picture of close up, something really close up or distant, and it sparks writing. So anytime you feel a reaction, an emotional thing, something, stop and think about writing that or taking more pictures, or what can come up for you with that. Okay, I thank you all for being here. And
thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And so this week you'll photograph and write. And then next week we will share, mainly sharing. I don't have a specific topic. If there's something you want me to deal with, email me and I'll work it in. Otherwise, I'd like really to be sharing. So Nina, if you break through on what was happening with you, or found a way, if each of you have something happening that you want to break through, or you want other people's feedback, when we were talking about relationships in the first week, we'll take advantage of that next week. And then think about, as I said, in the following week, there are all kinds of things I've done with technology. It can be simple or not, but recording and sharing stories, different ways you can share your stories, the way you can use Zoom to record, to interview, have your kids interview you or interview people about them. And so there's a wide range there. So we'll talk more about that next week.
I won't be here next week. My book club meets next week. But I'll post on the Facebook page.
Okay, and let us know, some of you recomposed your writing or not. Okay, I'm going to stop
What color I should have? Is there a color I should be taking pictures of?
No, just, you can choose any color. You can do what you want if you saw something, or you can choose the, yeah, Deb shared, she shared about gray. You can walk outside. Last week, those of you that weren't here, I mentioned that I was something, and like the first thing that catches your eye and take pictures of that, that was where I found the bird droppings. But you might walk outside and suddenly notice a color. You can choose that color to then continue looking for. Remember, inside, outside, in your closet, in a drawer. I mean, somebody in one of my classes just broke tension working in an office. And it's a matter of shifting. So just whatever you're taking these pictures, sometimes you're just shifting where you are into a different state. And she opened the drawer and started rearranging her paper clips and took pictures of that. Not artistic, Nina. Maybe she tried some artistic things. Somebody else was concerned with artistic too. This is not about, we're not getting ready for any kind of shows. So whatever you find catches your attention, play with it.
Great.
Okay, so I am going to stop the recording. And if anybody wants to stay for technical or anything, we'll stay on for a few more minutes. I thank you all for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday. And by the way, also Marilyn, who did purple, I forgot Ute wrote me, but Marilyn had, who's from Australia, had a last minute thing came up and apologized and hope to be here next week. Okay.